So today's vlog today, we're gonna look at the issue of game-based learning in curriculum. So let's start with a definition of what game-based learning is. Game-based learning designs learning activities that are intrinsically game-like. So a GBL example would be, say, in an economics course, students might compete in a virtual stock trading competition. In a political science course, students might role play as they engage in mock negotiations involving a labor dispute. For example, in the Intro to Business class that I teach, students do a simulation where they're running a company, and so they compete against other schools, and the winner from this competition, they get money that goes into a scholarship for university. I also remember when I was doing my MBA program, we also did like a simulation where we ran a company too. And so these are things that really increase student engagement and something that students will really remember. So, what are barriers and concerns from colleagues? One is always getting access to technology, for example, laptops, learning how to use the technology. So, some games are more difficult to learn how to play, many rules, and sometimes teachers will run into classroom management issues while playing the game. Now, the ability to cover all the curriculum if the game takes too much time, and that's a concern for some teachers. And there's costs, like some games require a subscription cost. So, for example, I was looking to using a game to teach my students how to do like use social media, like for example, Twitter or these platforms, and use it in order to advertise and gain business for a company, but there was a high subscription cost involved. Now, does the game cover curriculum expectations? Um, there also needs to be support for ESL learners, special needs, example, learning difficulties, vision. So, looking at how to address these barriers and concerns, and that involves providing access to technology. So, a lot of times, like if you get support from MIN, you can get access to a computer lab, Chromebook cards, and some schools have a BYOD policy, which is bring your own device. And so, because it's important that students be able to get, access to this technology. One of the difficulties mentioned earlier is that teachers need to learn how to play the game, right? So that involves professional development. Math coaches, they could support with the curriculum piece. And as for subscriptions, sometimes you can get financial supports. Um, hopefully, admin will, um, pay for a subscription, or sometimes the board will even provide a subscription. Now, to deal with ESL learners, some games will have, more than one languages and provide closed captioning. So what can be done to enhance the likelihood of ed tech adoption? Um, you could do that by making sure there is connections to the curriculum, that it's that there is statistical data proving that the usefulness of basically the game, present existing literature research supporting the use of game-based learning. Talked earlier about how there is research showing that it about increasing engagement, and also research regarding how if it's important to get into a flow, and when you're in a flow, basically students are so engaged that they have high levels of concentration when they're involved in playing the game. It's also exposing colleagues to intended games. And so, for example, I would give workshops and introduce games, and during these workshops to my coworkers, and by doing that, they're more likely to adopt the use of the game. Also, demonstrate how it benefits them as well. And by demonstrating it, then they can see how they can apply it to their classroom. So recommendations for good games, that it's not too complicated, that it's easy to use, that it doesn't take too much time so teachers are able to cover the curriculum, that it can be used globally, not just being specific for one group. And I mean, really key is it is really engaging, and students do get into a flow when they're playing the game. That it's not too easy, but then it's not too hard, so that students are challenged and that they will continue to play it. So, what are applications with game-based learning? So, some ed tech, um, apps, Instant Jeopardy, Kahoot, Open Badges, and that was introduced by Mozilla. Top Hat, which is used, by universities and colleges, and Backpack Games. Okay, so that ends the vlog for today, covering one of the topics that we covered in Dr. Power's course, which was gamification. So we are going to end it for now.